I always believe in connecting operational excellence journey to the organization vision. As an operational excellence fraternity, we need to understand that what is the vision and the end level business objective of the organization. We need to do complete diagnosis that where we are today and how can we reach over there. Then the operational excellence tools, methodologies, all these things are kind of vehicles available with us to move on that path and to reach that destination, and also to create a model that what are our primary levers or what are our primary components which are essential, but it can be somewhere between efficiency to cost to speed, and that plan will definitely include the engagement from the different stakeholders and solving their complex problems.
So, uh, Gresh, when we look at pharmaceutical manufacturing companies, there are some core capabilities any pharma company needs to have. These are things like uh, being able to manufacture, assuring quality, regulatory filings, running samples in the lab. So all of these are really critical and must have capabilities of building and scaling any pharma operations company. However, when it comes to operational excellence, many companies still continue to live without it. And you have been a great enabler in the operational excellence, not only in the pharma industry, but you have spent some time in food and beverage in the past, which we'll discuss later on during this chat today. But how do you see operational excellence being a critical enabler for pharmaceutical operations? And if you can provide some depth around what operational excellence means, how should people think about it? I think it will be valuable for the listeners to get this conversation going.
Yeah, Vivek. So when I talk about operational excellence, so my opinion has always been that operational excellence is not something different. It's a different way of achieving organizational goals. So I see it. Operational excellence should not be seen as a different pillar of the organization, but every organization should actually attempt to make it a foundation across all the themes of be it manufacturing or quality assurance or the R&D process. So this should be something which should be in the foundation of any organization, and that is why the operational excellence roles actually become important, and especially in pharma industries now, because all those things which you mentioned, I generally like to add one more component on top of that, which is efficiency. Because being efficient is something which is now becoming very important for the pharma industries, and becoming efficient is not only on the cost side but also on the productivity side. Drug delivery time, when we talk about the lead time to deliver a new molecule, new drug to the market, so that is also one important area where we need to see that how operational excellence can be leveraged, how can we actually reduce that time when the drug can reach faster to the patient and to the needy people. So that is where operational excellence has definitely an important role to play all across.
Yeah, I think that's a good foundation to begin with, Gresh. And you did mention a really interesting insight that efficiency also being a core enabler. And I think I can totally understand why it would be so instrumental to the specifically the generics pharma industry, where the cost of pressure is always high, the competition can be big.
Yeah, absolutely, Vivek. Because see, the if you see the key challenges for the pharma industry, it's not only that that is related to the generic market or from the cost point of view only. If you see that
Yeah.
we have the areas related to R&D where we need to bring more efficiency, that how the drug delivery can be made faster, how the developments can happen faster. Even the organization where I'm working currently, Syngene, which is into the CDMO and CRO space, so you perhaps won't believe, but to bring it to your knowledge, that even in research area now the organizations are actually measuring their productivity, that how efficient is our research business, how faster we are reaching to our end goals, and how quickly we are doing our reactions. Are we using the predictive analytics to make those things faster and run that complete cycle in much more efficient way, which is cost efficient as well as speed of delivery. Also looking from the the capital requirement, which is very much high in this pharma industry. And the reason, of course, that it is because the infrastructure which is required, and the kind of the talent which is required, the kind of technology which is required. So considering all these factors, it becomes I mean immensely important to understand that how fast we can, how effectively we can utilize our resources, and we can be more productive, more efficient, and be more customer centric and patient centric. So that is why I feel that it has an important role to play in the pharma industry. And not only pharma industry, but even if you see another industry, some of those factors are very much common. But being from the pharma side, it becomes even more important when it comes to the reducing the product life, reaching the product life cycle, and doing the delivery faster, and handling the complex supply chain. So these factors actually make it more important for the pharma industry to do it in an efficient way.
But getting back to it, so I think, Gresh, you have definitely lifted a blind spot, at least for me. So whenever I heard operational excellence, my mind immediately went to the operational excellence in the manufacturing and quality operations.
Manufacturing side, yeah.
Um, right, but at least I can now appreciate it a bit more, that it's not only centered on manufacturing and quality, but perhaps it's a process that can start playing a role right from the drug discovery and, like you described, going into the drug development, subsequently tech transfer, definitely in the commercial manufacturing, going all the way into the supply chain. So I think personally for me, a blind spot has been lifted, so I can appreciate the far-reaching impact operational excellence can have in a pharmaceutical organization. As a continuation of that, do you mind just educating, maybe myself and even the audience a bit more around what are some of the top goals or KPIs that operational excellence leaders should target? Uh, you know, I think depending on the journey where they are, the goals might be different. But if you had to provide a generic roadmap for operational excellence for a for a leader in this space, uh, what would your guidance be for them?
So when I talk about this, Vivek, I always believe in connecting operational excellence journey to the organization vision. So as an operational excellence team, as an operational excellence fraternity, we need to understand that what is the vision and the end level business objective of the organization. And from there we should create our operational excellence journey, that how can we help organization to achieve those goals and to reach that vision of the organization in a better way, in an effective way, and actually, I mean, in an efficient way. So in order to do that, we need to understand, we need to do complete diagnosis, that where we are today and how can we reach over there. Then the operational excellence tools, methodologies, all these things are kind of vehicles available with us to move on that path and to reach that destination. But that destination should be fully connected, fully integrated with the organization objective. So when I talk about, especially since I being from the pharmaceutical industry, especially currently into CRO space, so over there our priority is definitely to serve our clients, because in Syngene we actually serve all the top pharma clients across the globe, and major of the client base is into US and Europe. So we understand their needs, that what actually they want to do in terms of their expectation from us, how do they want to deliver those objectives. And then we actually co-partnership model with them, and in that we try to understand their challenges, their issues, and we offer that how can we help those clients to make those things a little efficient and little faster for them, which includes helping them to create their path, their journey, and also to create a model, that what are our primary levers, or what are our primary components which are essential for that particular assignment, for that particular program. and it depends upon the need of the clients, but it can be somewhere between efficiency to cost to speed, and basic understanding from that actually makes us to create that plan. And that plan will definitely include the engagement from the different stakeholders and solving their complex problems. So this is how we actually try to create our process, our offering in terms of operational excellence to our clients. So it is not only the internalized, but it is also very much externalized when we offer our support, our services to our clients. When it comes to the internal processes, that time we actually look at the organization priorities, and those organization priorities we pick up and we provide the framework that how can we do those things faster. So for example, if I talk about our programs related to the efficiency improvement or cost of poor quality optimization, or our lean six sigma programs in terms of the capability building in the organization, or be it our kaizen processes where we talk about bottom up approach. So creating those models and actually aligning all those models and those frameworks to the priority of the organization, to the priority of the client, is a right model. So I don't think that there is one single model which is applicable to all organizations, but it all always depend upon the need of the organization, and the suitable model can be created. When we talk about the structured models, there are various models available
Yeah.
in the industry. So starting from the damming process, or if we talk about the business excellence framework, so we have Malcolm Baldrige framework, we have EFQM framework. Any one of those can be adopted, and also the organization can create their own journey, their own model, and they can just keep on moving on those models. So it's about setting up the goals, setting up the priorities, and then creating that path, and then moving on that with the full engagement, because the engagement is the key in any operational excellence journey for organization.
Yeah. And that's an extremely beautiful description of the structure that you have laid down, Gresh. And as I have understood, beginning the journey from aligning with the organizational vision, and then I think what you described really effectively was breaking it down into functional level operational excellence. And functional level of operational excellence can be both for internal stakeholders as well as external stakeholders, and breaking down the entire journey into smaller sub-segments and defining maybe a couple of high-level goals and KPIs for those individual functions, and then creating programs for optimizing those. And you took some examples around lean, cost of poor quality. You also talked about a couple of framework names, which I'll definitely go back and read more about. So thank you for sharing that with me, as well as the audience for this podcast. But I think really beautiful description of how a leader should be thinking about and structuring the operational excellence within a pharma organization. One of the points you mentioned is that engagement is instrumental to this entire journey. And another thing you talked about is that what kind of impact can it create. And as I think about it, if there is more impact, organically there can be higher engagement. If there is higher engagement, there can be more impact. So it can be a bit of a vicious cycle to run into, if I am understanding this correctly. But according to you, what kind of impact can companies see? So how much cost can they cut down? How much faster can they introduce new drugs? How much revenue can be increased? So what can be the level of impact? If I'm, let's say, a pharma company, and if I'm a leader, and if I have the budget to set up a new department, start investing into it, is there a rough overall sense that you can share with us that, what is the ceiling that can be hit, that can be achieved by setting up a fully functional operational excellence program within pharma?
So I mean, it actually no straightforward answer, but it depends upon the organization and the
Yeah.
current processes. So if I talk about my experience, Vivek, I have seen certain areas or certain certain departments where we have enough potential to improve the efficiency maybe twofold, threefold, And there have been some cases where there was, already some maturity achieved, and where we have very less opportunity to improve on. So that is actually deciding the size of the pie. So how much is the potential in that? That depends upon the level where that organization is in terms of their maturity. So if I talk about, for example, we pick up some of the famous pizza deliveries where you see all those 10 minutes delivery, 20 minutes delivery. So those things are coming at some efficiency. So those things already achieve certain maturity level. If you try to do some optimization over there, the scope will be little, until unless there is some technological disruption and there is some out of the box solution that the pizza or the food item is reaching you without a human who is delivering it. It's reaching somewhere
Yeah,
through drone or some other means. So other than that, if you try to identify, the opportunity can be different depending upon the organization. So difficult to think about that, but yes, the kind of processes which I have been or I have seen. So definitely the opportunity in terms of the improvement potential, it varies between 30-40% up to say maybe 2x 3x. So it depends upon that, and then
right,
that only decides that how do you want to set up your operational excellence organization in the company, and what should be your size, what is your priority. So it will actually be based on those decisions. And another important thing is that it is not something which is a one stop solution. So the organization needs to think that uh, these things happen in slow and steady manner, and it goes step by
yeah,
step. So we have to build the foundation rock by rock. It cannot happen all of a sudden that we bring some structure and put in place. But there is some learning journey for every organization, depending upon their structure, their culture, their practices, their beliefs. So it is definitely completely, the organization decision that how they want to move on that, and how do they want to build on it. I know that I have not answered your question very precisely,
right.
but I have tried to put my view that how does it work depending upon the organization priority.
Yeah, at least I got a good sense on how to think about this. So thank you for sharing that. Going down to the second level or tactical level of details, do you mind sharing some project ideas, some initiatives that uh, companies can explore in this space?
Yeah, so if I talk about the pharma industry only, so there are various opportunities where the organizations can look into, and productivity and efficiency is definitely the topmost priority for every organization, and which is definitely a very large field if we talk about the productivity and the efficiency of the organization of the system. So in pharma manufacturing setup, if we see, or even in the development cycle or in the discovery cycle, so there are three levels of the productivity and efficiency. One is definitely the people related efficiency, which is definitely the outcome of the output and the amount of efforts we are putting up. Because despite being too much of automation, we still use a lot of talented pool of the people in the organization. And in pharma, the pool of talent is definitely at a little higher cost compared to the other industries, because the kind of talent which is required is much more higher in terms of the level of education. So how much we are actually creating output, our per FTE basis. So in manufacturing scenario, it can be the number of output per FTEs, and it can be number of batches per FTE. In terms of the speed of delivery, it can be the TAT, turnaround time to complete the batches, or turnaround time to release my batches for the commercial release, or the turnaround time to develop a product or the tech transfer. That is related to speed. The third element, which is also very very important, is my capital productivity, my asset productivity, and which can be measured in terms of if you are familiar with the metrics like OEE, which is overall equipment effectiveness, which is called a super metric in the manufacturing scenario. So that is one of the important metrics which can be used. Other than that, also we can measure our asset utilization, that how many batches or how much kg or how many number of output in terms of the tablets or any other OSD form or injectables we are producing per equipment or per machine hour we are putting up. And the same kind of setup can be used in terms of this measuring the efficiency in the development and research scenario. Also in research also we measure our how much is our asset utilization, that how many reactions or how many outcomes we are delivering per setup of our reaction or per setup of our equipment. These are the high level metrics when we talk about the productivity and efficiency. Few other things in pharma definitely to focus upon are related to the quality. When we talk about the cost of poor execution or cost of poor quality, so there are many things which are very much known or very much popular in the industry, which everyone knows. But there are other things which we are not very much aware of, which we are not very much familiar. The time we are spending on our investigations, the time we are investing in spending on our QMS item closures. So those things are the hidden cost, which are actually taking a lot of time and energy from the entire organization. If we convert those things in an efficient way, if we reduce our number of deviations, or even if we bring some systems where the digitalization or automation can help in terms of reducing the number of deviations, or in terms of doing those closures and investigations faster, that can also actually unlock a lot of potential in terms of the output which we can increase, or the kind of deliveries which we can do from the same system, from the existing system. So these are the few things which are the top priority, but there can be many more things depending upon the organization's requirement. So those things should be picked up based on diagnostics to be done by the organization, and from there it should be identified.
Great. I think this, while describing some of the project ideas, you also gave a bit of a diagnostics framework, which I think is a whole different topic that we can delve into, but we'll shelve it for now. What as a natural progression to our conversation, see, one of the things that we do before any podcast is that we reach out to some of our premium listeners, and we ask them, what are some of the things that you would like to ask Gresh? And so
Okay.
we always try to get some sense of the areas of interest. Now, one of the key themes that emerged out of the pre-work that we did was that there seems to be a notion that in order for us to start making use of some of these operational excellence ideas, there has to be a very strong data foundation in place, which means that we need to automate everything, right from getting the data from machines, data around people. We need to start tracking our supply chain. We need to have all of our customer interactions. I think in case of CDMO, it becomes quite important to track the CDMO based workflows as well. So one of the notion we have detected is that there's a feeling that in order for truly making an improvement, there has to be a huge amount of pre-work that needs to be done before any meaningful outcome. So would you agree with that, or would you uh, provide any recommendations against this thinking?
Yeah, Vivek. So, I mean, the answer is depending upon the need, depending upon the situation. But for reaching out to any analytics or for any conclusion, of course, the data is required, and data is analyzed, and basis that we create our conclusion. But if we see from operational excellence or from a statistical point of view, we can use some sample data, which obviously can be collected manual as well. And based on sample data, we can do some prediction for the population data, and we can actually create some models where we can start working on. But the thing is that the smaller the sample size, our confidence level will be lower. So now with the growing technology and the things coming up where we can actually create the mass data, that makes our job easier, and we can actually create the models which are much more predictable, which are much more conclusive, compared to the earlier when we used to do sampling data and we were creating those models. Now those things can be done in the real time way. If we see the dashboards, which are the kind of real time dashboard, and that outcome is actually coming right from the machine, and it is showing us in form of display or some analytics, is actually giving us that real time update, real time information where the decision making can be faster. But if I talk about that we need to have some data in the background, it's not essential, but it is definitely helpful in terms of making those decisions faster and reaching to those conclusions in an efficient way.
Yeah, no, I think that provides a really beautiful description of how to think about the availability of data as a foundation to the operational excellence. Another key theme which emerged out of these conversations was that as a pharma company, we have invested reasonably in core software systems. So today, if you look at any pharma company, there's almost always, some core systems in place like an ERP for tracking materials, vendors, suppliers. Uh, there is always going to be a CRM for tracking, sales and marketing. There is a QMS software which track all the quality events. You talked about deviations, etc. just now. Not many, but some companies have also invested in MES platforms. I think almost every company has a LIMS now, a lab system.
Yeah.
There has been a big regulatory focus in the last 4 or 5 years. So, companies have done that work. Uh, we are tracking competency levels as well of people in softwares like LMS. So, and then there are other base systems like tracking maintenance, calibrations, cleanings, and you know if it is if you look at the R&D side, then tracking filings, variations, right? So nowadays, pharma companies have already invested in core software systems. Now, despite that, we have repeatedly heard that my QMS, is only an issue tracker. It does not help me reduce deviations. It does not even help me do my change control faster. Like I'm only attaching documents. In my QMS, I have 1000 change controls. I don't know if there are change controls which contradict one another, if my people have done the right kind of assessments or not. We have an MES platform, but our yield actually went down. We had more downtime with MES than without MES. So why should we extend it to other sites, right? So despite having invested in these core software systems, there's a wider sense of, if I can, use that word, disappointment in terms of achieving the outcomes that they were supposed to deliver. Where do you think you know this assessment is, or this this survey that we did is, according to you, and where does operational excellence as an enabler can turn things around for them?
So I agree with you, Vivek, because all these solutions which have actually emerged from the theme of automation,
Yeah,
where the organizations or the solution providers, they have actually brought a few things which are automated by pulling up some data from the system and then converting that into the automated output. That has happened in different phases of the time, and perhaps that is why this is not a fully integrated the kind of solution. And this actually brings the limited understanding, because what the solution will do will throw us the data. For example, you talked about the QMS. So QMS system, any system which you deploy, a software system, that will throw you the information that you have x many number of deviations, and these deviations are lying with this people, and this is the timelines which is there, which was earlier being done by manually. So somebody in the QMS team was sitting over there and putting up all those things together and sharing the emails, etc. Now that is happening through the dashboard. So that is the only change which this automation has brought into. So it is the automation, but it is lacking the addition of intelligence, where the theme of artificial intelligence plays little bigger role. And this actually connects the automation with the intelligence, where you can actually try to bring some predictive analysis, and can help the organization to achieve those things in a time based manner and with the reduced number of interventions from the human side. So because of that, the partial automation in different segments, that challenge has always been there. That always requires some manual intervention, because at the end of the day, investigation has to be done by the team of those quality and the technical professionals. They have to sit on that understanding, they have to analyze that, they have to provide solution. So it is playing a partial role of providing the dashboard type of information, but it is not giving the end-to-end solution. So the definitely the challenge still remains over there, and which requires the manual effort or the manual intervention. And since it goes into different stages, different phases, so that is why sometimes people feel that this is not bringing us the right system, because there is a learning curve as well. So organization and people start learning those systems, then by the end of that learning cycle, some new software, some new tool is available, so which makes this learning to go the next cycle. So that can be the primary reason of thinking that way, that these solutions are actually not helping us but creating a burden.
Right. And Krish, when I speak to leaders like yourself, there's a there's a dominant belief that individual systems like QMS, MES, LIMS, while they have solved for data integrity, they haven't truly solved for not only efficiency but not even for compliance. So there is data in QMS today, which upon uh, a close analysis, you will find issues. So you will find change controls which have inadequate impact assessments. You might find next actions which might not have been acted upon in time. You will see contradictions within different documentations. So, we did a bit of analysis recently, and we found that a vast majority of the data associated with QMS is actually found in the attachments which people do along with, let's say, filling in the change control form or the deviation form, or the kappa which comes out. There is truly no way to measure the effectiveness. It is extremely difficult to figure out the recurring nature of deviation so that we can take an effective measure to reduce those events, and then thereby contributing towards reduction in the cost of quality and thereby cost of poor quality as well subsequently. I could describe the same level of insights that I received for MES as well, but I'll just keep it short. So there seems to be a dominant belief that the traditional software ecosystem, they have solved for data integrity. However, the reason why leaders decided to implement software solutions to achieve goals like audit readiness, compliance, reduction in cost of quality. You describe some metrics like improving turnaround times, reducing batch failures. None of those goals have been influenced at all, or not to the extent that justified the investment. But it has solved for data integrity. So that's the dominant belief that I typically get to hear, when I interact with leaders in the manufacturing and quality domain. So wanted to hear your personal experience around these things so that our listeners can hear the opinions from somebody who is not directly from manufacturing and quality, but it is analyzing from a little bit from outside, from operational excellence point of view.
So you are right, Vivek, and your findings are also absolutely correct. So what the automations have actually served us, that availability of the dashboard, and having the
Right.
large data into that system, where we can take the dump, where we can download that, and where we can actually do that bucketing. That X number of deviations belong to manufacturing, another number of deviations belong to the engineering, something belongs to QC, like that. So that kind of information, this has actually done it, and has also helped us to control some, up to some extent, the data integrity piece and regulatory
Right.
compliance things. But it has not served the complete purpose, because even if we see today, I'm not talking about any particular organization, but many organizations, when we see the investigation closures, so most of the investigations actually close with the training to be done or retraining to be done. So why is that
Yeah.
happening? Why are we getting the repeat deviations, the repeat failures? Because we are not going into the depth, and the similar kind of failures also happened in the past. But that software is not providing us that insight that this failure has already occurred and some solution was already prepared for that. Can we take some lead from there and we build our new solution, or the final root cause based on that previous analysis? That is not happening intelligently by the current systems, current softwares. And that is where I feel a need of the connecting the advanced level of analytics, or the which we call today the artificial intelligence, on top of those, that automation which can actually fetch that information and can tell ahead of time that this failure already happened 3 times in last 2 years, and the solution or the root cause created or root cause analyzed for that was this. So the next level analysis should be done on top of that, rather than just recreating or redoing that analysis once again.
Yeah, no, that's a really, I think, valuable line of thinking. And Gresh, I know, you have spent a bit of time outside of pharma as well. In food and beverage manufacturing, we discussed that early on. You know that I've spent some time in industries where automation was a little bit more than pharma. So, when I look at industries outside pharma, the deviations are not only about quality, but the deviations are also about efficiency.
Yeah.
So, why is it that I was able to produce only 99% of my product that what I was supposed to do? I mean, even 1% of, lack in production can lead to significant dollar value. Why was it that, my cost of manufacturing this batch is variable? So why can't I manufacture my batches with consistent cost going into it? Why is it that our machines are breaking down at an interval which they're not supposed to do? And so the deviations are not only about quality systems or regulatory compliance, but the deviations can also be about and I think after talking to you, I will maybe start looking at the entire supply chain, not only manufacturing and quality, and then the methodology to remediate via some investigation tools. And I'm sure you will add some more insights here, but things like five eyes, or doing predictive analytics and doing correlation mappings. There are many things that we can go into here, but there are standard tools which can help us investigate any kind of deviations, be it quality, be it efficiency, even sustainability, or other kind of critical larger goals for the pharma company. So according to you, these do you feel that the intense focus on quality in pharma has somewhat restricted the innovation in other domain? And I think, coming from food and beverage, you can probably share some more analogies, some more insights. But do you feel that the focus has predominantly uh, wrongly shifted to just managing regulatory compliance when it comes to deviation, and then considering uh, operational efficiency, operational excellence as projects, not really as continuous operational measures? Because deviations we capture from batch to batch level, right? It's a continuous stream of observations which people record. But when we look at efficiency, then it's a discrete project. It's a project which comes up once every 6 months. We re-evaluate efficiency on an annual basis, rather than finding the deviations in efficiency continuously and then performing the root cause investigation and thereby coming up with remediation pretty much on a consistent basis. Do you, first of all, is my understanding correct? And second, can you add some of your experience coming from outside pharma here?
Yeah, your understanding is correct, Vivek, and you are right that in pharma, the larger focus has been on the regulatory compliance and quality side. Although I won't say wrongly, definitely the quality is the topmost priority. when it comes to the different aspects of any product life cycle or any process, be it the supply chain, right from the sourcing of the material up to the final delivery. So quality is of course the utmost priority, which has been very rightly addressed in the pharma industry, and same is true for food and beverage as well. But because of the regulation not being that stringent in other industries, especially I talk about the food and beverage or even the consumer industry, so that actually change little bit of prioritization in terms of the weightages given to those factors. So in other industries, if I talk about the food and beverage, so the speed and efficiency also has very important role to play, other than quality, because quality a set standard which is maintained, which is given. But other things become important. One primarily because of the maturity of the industry. It's not that much of the into the development stage or into that stringent regulatory system. In pharma, we know that because of the regulatory compliance, the major focus, of course, remains on the quality and regulatory systems. But other things also becoming equally important. So in Syngene, especially if I talk about, we follow a system which we call SQDAC. So SQDAC is safety, quality, D for delivery, E for engagement, C for compliance, and then last C for cost. So we actually rate all those six parameters, and we have that measurement system established at the shop floor, then at the middle level management, and at the top level management. And our organization actually speaks that language of SQDAC. So we don't talk only about quality, although it starts with the safety first, and then quality is the next topic in that lean daily management system. But we have equally weightage for the delivery and engagement and compliance and cost as well. So that is a way to bring all the important measurements into the place of governance. And this ASCII, which I'm talking about, is a lean daily management system, which plays a role of the engine of improvement, engine of the sustainability for that organization, for that department, and where all these things are discussed. And this is a mix of the people engagement as well as the digitalization, and very basic tools which you just talked about, the YY analysis or the fishbone analysis. Those things are also very much leveraged over there. So net I would say that yes, in pharma, quality has been always a top priority, something which is number one priority, including safety. But other things are also now organizations have been understanding very much, very well, in many of the Indian generic pharma organizations, or even at the global level when we interact with many of our clients. We get that understanding that yes, other things, especially the efficiency, the productivity, are now equally important, and organizations are actually looking at those the features where we have some very good use case scenarios where we have actually delivered better efficiency. So that is something which is, I feel, is changing now, and the focus is there all across all the elements of SQDECC.
Great. So with that, we have come to the end of our session. Gresh, thank you so much, first of all, for spending more time than we had planned. I think the conversation was truly educational as well as exciting for me. I hope that the listeners of this podcast will find it equally exciting as much as I did. And I think thank you also for just leading the innovation within pharma. I think we need that a lot more. I think you can vouch that more than I will for that. And also, I think would really love to have you again on the platform. Uh, with I think constantly evolving technology landscape. We didn't get to talk about Gen AI today. That's another topic which I think there's a very good, I think, scope that we can chat about. So thank you for the chat today, and I'm looking forward to continue this engagement and inviting you again on this show. And looking forward to host you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vivek. Bye.